G'day guys, welcome to the lab. Lockdown day 1. Let's find us here. We've got our, what does it say? It's in mirror so it's hard to read. Gloria Super Deluxe. And as you might have seen on Facebook Live, there's a big hole there. No diff. You also shouldn't touch your face when there's a pandemic going around, so I just broke some pretty important rules just then. So don't do what I'm just doing it again. I've got an itchy nose. Ford 9-inch diff, Ford Explorer rotors, Nissan R32 GTR calipers adapted onto there, and like 3.55 ratio to go with our Nissan Skyline gearbox and our VK56 supercharged V8. So let's get that onto the car. Now I can't have anyone come and give me a hand because I've got my father-in-law next door, but he's like 75. Probably shouldn't interact with him too much. We're basically on the same property. I certainly shouldn't be getting him to do any strenuous activities. As per myself, I'm not supposed to be doing anything that's risky. You can't go out in your boat. So I certainly can't do anything that might be slightly dangerous in the workshop. That would be really dumb, irresponsible. But what we can do is to put this big heavy thing up into that hole up there. There's a real simple process that I would do anyway in a normal situation, is just basically put the diff in pretty much the right spot on the floor and lower the car down. Then you can put some strops or anything. In this case, we can probably even put the shock absorbers onto the diff to hold the diff, and then just lift the car up. Done. Safe. So everyone's bored, we've got heaps of time. Let's just do that with action cam. The whole process, start to finish, pretty good. I can see the bolts that I need to hold the shocks on right there. So we can just go for it. Let's do it! Like I said, zero prep work. Camera's on my head. Probably, I'm sorry, I have to turn the radio off because we don't want to breach any copyright rules. Right, so diff is on the ground. It's on that little trolley, which is not much help really. Oh, it might give us a hand to guide it around into the general position. But that's on the ground. That box should be alright where it is. Now it definitely will be alright where it is. We won't hit that. There's our shock absorbers we need. They will hold the weight of the differential, no problem at all. We're going to need one on each side. Now these were in the car upside down actually. They were in the car that way. I have no idea why. We may or may not do that again. For now, let's do it that way. If I've got my angles wrong with the camera, I do apologise. I think that's probably a better angle for you. Sorry about the noise it makes when I put my hands on that. That needs a washer on there. Maybe not. Might just tighten up all right. There we go. No way that's going to break or fall on the ground or hurt anyone. That's impossible. Super strong. Same deal with this. There we go. That should be pretty good. Right, that goes up there like that. Of course, that whole diff is going to swing around like that when we take the weight off everything. So we might have to look at putting those front bars in, which should not be a problem. These pins go through there. Let's have a look and make sure. See how lucky we are here. Is that the same size as that? Oh no, that's awkward. One's metric, one's imperial. We're going to need a tiny little bush on there, or we're going to need to drill that out somehow and put an imperial bolt in, which is fine. We can do that at a later date. That's no problem to sort that out later on. We don't have to do it right now. So these were designed to be set offset to give us a little bit more room for our big tyres we want to run. So that's going to go in there like that. And I want to find the right spot. There we go. Yeah, you definitely want to get the right size on there. So we'll have to put a nut on the other side of that before we hang the diff off that, or there's a chance that I don't know, somehow it might miraculously wriggle and jiggle its way and fall off. Oh, you know what's going to happen. I've got to move those fuel hoses. Yeah, that's... Oh no, there we go. Yeah, that's not bad. Okay. We don't need the big nut on the outside, we can put the two small nuts on the inside. My box of, I think those are Imperial, did not use those. Box of nuts and bolts and all sorts of things, there'll be somewhere. There we go, they're lock nuts, but they're just to stop the pin falling out. Here we go. Awesome, cool bananas. It goes on there like that. That pin cannot fall out anymore. Hopefully you can see that. I'm sorry if the lighting's bad. I suppose I could put a torch on my head as well, couldn't I? An LED light, so that we have a light source for our old Jurassic GoPro camera. Right. Don't squash that. I'm pretty happy with that. You guys can just tell me if you think I'm being crazy. That is going to be good as gold. Now obviously those bars are going to come down and hit the ground. So when it gets to that point I'm going to have to give them a little nudge out of the way so that they slide across under the diff. I could have put them on afterwards, eh? That was probably the smarter way to do it. Don't want to put a lot of weight on those bars. Right, they're touching now. This is trying to do this by myself while talking to you guys on the camera, and I've just come up with a cunning plan. We're going to use the broom, and we're going to stick that under there. There's a bit of weight on that one. There we go. There we go. Oh, some of you will be cringing. That's fine. Now, I need to hold that there. That's all it needs. Anything beyond that, they will simply slide out of the way. Cumbersome, I know. Awkward, difficult, I know. These are trying times. Rightio. Before I go too much further, we've got a wheel on the front that I need to watch out for. So do not want that wheel on the ground while we're doing all this other stuff. Nah. That wheel has to come off. What nuts have we got on there? I think they're 21 or 19, one or the other. 17, 18, 19, 21, something like that. It's just two nuts just to hold that wheel so it didn't fall off. There we go. Okay. Let's just carefully put that there. Out of the way for now. I'll sort that out when I've turned off the camera. So let's go down a little bit more. That should be us. That's probably actually about ride height there. Obviously the diff's hanging on a bit of an angle, but that's about where it'll be. So we'll still have heaps of travel. This is all going to work out pretty good. We're not... Right. 4-bar length. Hopefully you can see all this. If not, there might be some editing and the bits and pieces might disappear. Let's put it on the lower one for now, assuming we get a good angle. If the angles are all wrong, then we might shift it to the higher one. I'm not going to worry about that nut, I think. There's no chance of that one slipping off. Okay, It's exciting. And the diff can still pivot without the top arms on there, but it will only go so far before something bottoms out one way or the other. So when we pick this up, got to be careful with that, ensure I don't cause a problem or bend or break something. Let's put this. You can't see what I'm doing here, sorry. I'm just going to put this other lower arm in. A lot of yabbering. I should have left the music going, eh? Oh, that's right, some of you guys didn't want music. Not sure if you can hear that in the background. That's our neighbour has just been out on his motorcycle. Fucking genius. Whole country's in lockdown because of a virus. He goes and rides the most dangerous machine he can on the road. This is going to be a long time for us, guys. We're going to be in lockdown for months because we're just dealing with stupidity. And we're in. That's us. That one's good. Let's see if we can actually get that nut on the back of that bar, just to be super cautious. You hear that donk? That's the hoist trying to creep down just a couple of millimeters. Does that. Right, now the goal here is very carefully lift it up, very slowly. It is going to tip one way or the other. We'll figure out which way it's going to go. We'll jam in some rags so we don't damage powder coating and stuff. Then we'll lift it right the way up, and then we'll get the transmission jack under it. We'll square up the diff so it's sitting as it should be sitting. Then we can have a look at top arms, confirm the lengths, confirm where those mounts need to go, and the whole lot all has to come back out again. However, it can stay on the transmission jack at that point, which will make it super easy from here, in and out. It's a piece of cake once it's on the trans jack. Alright, there's our safety system in place. Nice big transmission jack. I don't even know what that's rated at actually off the top of my head. It's a lot. It's maybe a ton or something crazy like that. It's heaps. So that ain't going to hurt no one. And there we go. We've got those lower bars in. Bolts through both ends. Got the shocks in. Bolts through both ends. Got the neighbour bloody renovating or something. Might be wifey actually. Might be helping appearance. And that's it. Oh, sorry, lighting's not so crash hot in here. But there's the diff sitting up there in the car. That probably is not actually all that bad for ride height. Here's our... Yeah, I know, lighting's crap. Sorry, guys. Here's our top arms. And there's the mounts. Come on, give me some light. Yeah, that's probably enough for you to see. There's the top mounts. So they're in the right spot. They're just not good enough to pass low volume cert, and they're not wide enough to fit those great big bushes in them. So what I can do, zoom right in, and then there, now you can see. So what I can do is actually just get in here with the angle grinder at the moment, for now, hack off the bit that's in the way, this outer side of the mount. I can do that on both sides. I can pass a bolt through both arms, locate it onto the back side of that mount, and from there it's secure, and we can go through all our travels and all our clearances and sussing out what size wheel spaces. Not that that matters, because we can no longer get those. We would have been able to, but things have changed. So this, I mean, technically I'm a mechanic, you could say essential service, but absolutely not in this case. This is a toy, so we can't get our wheel spaces at the moment. However, somewhere in that box of stuff there, this is the advantage of having heaps of crap lying around everywhere. I reckon we can make up some wheel spaces. These are probably 5mm each, I'd say. So we can we can cobble together something just to put the wheel in place. We won't have the length of wheel studs that we need, although I've got longer studs here. I could do that, but I'm not going to change the studs out just for test fitting. So I can figure it out and know exactly what we will need when the world comes back to life and we can order stuff and get on with things. So we'll be hopefully in a good position, all set up to carry on quickly. So there you go. That's that next stage. I'm going to test. What am I going to do? I'm going to see that diff's in the center right now, and then I'm going to test fit that wheel on the back of it, because that's going to be fun for me. I'm going to enjoy that. So let's do that. Center the diff, make sure it's in the right spot. Put a wheel on there and see what we need for spaces. By the time we put 20 mils of spaces on there, we're not going to have enough stud to hang the bloody wheel off there by itself, but we'll be able to just test fit it and make sure it's actually going to fit up inside the guard, and maybe figure out what size tire we might be able to get on there without clearance issues. From there I can carry on with all this. That's a lot of time to fix all that, but we'll know what we need to do. All right, I gotta keep going. All right, top arms not in. I'm not gonna say that in. Top arms are held in place, shall we say that? So obviously nothing on this side of it, because that all got hacked off. It's just on that back tab, like I say, very, very loosely in place. There we go. So the diff's been, notice how I wrapped all the nice powder coating and paper to prevent any damage. So the diff's been up almost to the bump stops here, just a little bit shy of the bump stops on that particular setting on our ride height. You'll see that's adjustable, and everything looks pretty good so far. It could probably go a little bit lower. It will end up being a little bit lower, because if you look right through to the front there, the hub center for the wheels just below that trim line that runs along there, the chrome trim, stainless steel trim, whatever it's made of, and backward quite a bit lower. So that would result in the back of the car running a bit higher than the front, which we don't really want. If we can avoid it, it's probably not going to look terrible, but if we can have it level, we'll do that. So I'll shift it up a bolt hole, at least, I would imagine. What's that, 20 mils or something like that. If we shift it up one bolt hole, that's probably about where we need to be. Got to make sure we can get the wheels to fit in the arches. It's looking good at this point. I've got Harry Potter to work on getting us some wheel spaces. So we'll see. He said that times are tough, so he might have to talk to Santa Claus, and failing that, maybe even the Tooth Fairy. So hopefully one of those three will come through, and we'll get some wheel spaces adapters through to here. Courier companies are talking essential services only. Some are saying that means you can only deliver to ambulances and things like that, and some are saying no, courier companies are essential services, so they operate at normal. So I mean, who knows? They're quite, everything's probably going to change. Sorry, I'm not using the gimbal at the moment, that's why it's wobbling around. Too bad. Everything's probably going to change overnight. So although at this point in time we might have some spaces on Saturday morning or Monday or Tuesday, who knows? Government's probably going to change things, and then they'll just disappear into oblivion. So bad luck if that's the case. I'll find something else to carry on with, and when we run out, I don't know, I've got a couple of sets of Lego to finish off. I was kind of hoping, I did mention about doing some stuff on this or on the Bedford or on the Ute, but if we're not going to be able to source any parts at all via couriers, that's all dead. There's none of that's going to happen, so unfortunately. All right, there you go. That'll do for today. I can't burn up too much progress in one hit. We'll run out of content very, very quickly. There'll be nothing for you guys to see. So there we go. It's looking pretty cool. It's big diff, way, way, way bigger than the one that was in there originally. So we're not going to have any problems breaking diffs in this. And the gearboxes are pretty good as well. So once we get a drive shaft up to the task, then he's going to be sorted. We skids all day with no problems. Skids all day. Look at that. What's the time? 3 o'clock. Yeah, early knockoff. I think so, under the circumstances. Hey! Alright, like, share, subscribe.